terms of your website, how close are you to that 100 megabyte limit right now? Do you know?
We're at 47 right now.
Okay. And if you could, and I noticed you were at 1,199, very careful editing, I was very glad to see that. What would you add to your website if you could add something, whether it be more words, whether it be like another audio clip, whether it be something else, another page perhaps?
We previously had a page on the effects that happened after India's independence, about how how the country split apart. But we ended up taking it out because it was not too directly related to the Salt March, and we wanted to keep it focused on the main subject. So if we had more time and word limits wasn't a problem, then I would like to add that back in.
It would also be nice if we had some more words to go more in depth in the leaders, so you know kind of who's who and like the organizations and all those different players in this event.
Yeah, and just making it, instead of being close to the word limit, we can also explain more of the things if we added to.
So, if you did ever put in something about post-independence, what, give me a fact or an event that you would really like to see in there?
Well, I personally would put like a bunch of rights that Indians gained after independence, and just show like what they didn't have and show what they did have after.
I would like to add more on the Quit India movement, which is kind of a couple years before India actually got its independence, which is kind of like this, I guess, push for just the British to quit India. You know, it's this movement that finally got it independence. So, kind of more on that.
You know, somewhere there's a comment, I don't think it's right here, perhaps it's under English rule. You go back up to the top. Oh, okay, yeah, the first sentence, that's your sentence in 1858.
In the quarter.
I was wondering about where you found that particular piece of information. 'Cause I would put, I mean, 1858 seems like it's a little late.
Well, there's a proclamation establishing the current government in India, which we got from like a resources site that had a bunch of resources, and we used that because it was basically this proclamation written by British people that were like establishing like this is now our land or whatever, and it has the dates and everything.
Just as the more official
Yeah,
date.
well,
That's true, but obviously Britain had been there quite a bit longer.
Yeah, they had been there
Earlier
for a while,
than that,
but
yeah.
it had been like just a trading partner, but now they just brought it under complete control.
I was very interested in seeing the film that you had of the Salt March, and do you know if that was taken by, was that an independent journalist or somebody with the march?
Gandhi had hired some people to take videos of the movement, and so this was one of them.
Because one of his aims was to have the world know about it, so then that would help his cause to free India from the British.
Pretty media savvy for that year.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Should I?
And I
Oh,
appreciate.
no, you don't have to do that. We've already taken a look at that. That's an interesting segue though, because of the kind of media thing, because I know at one point he had like Life magazine photojournalists with him. Did he have anybody like that there during the Salt March? Do you know?
I think he had an English journalist for
Mhm.
someone from America, who was also watching and sending reports back to America.
Mhm.
Basically, a bunch of people know this is going to be a big event. A lot of people are participating in it. It's going to be a big turning point. And then so a lot of reporters came and took pictures, took video.
Yeah, just to target the big important, like the more powerful countries at the time, such as written in America.
You know approximately when Gandhi, I guess he returned to India, but prior to this, I know he'd been in South Africa and some other places. But when was it that he came back to India and began all this?
I think it was approximately 1920, and he'd been pushing for Indians' rights in South Africa, but then he pushed for that, but then he realized, hey, it's happening in my own country too, so then he went back there and supported it.
Now, in your process paper, did you, say why you picked the Salt Marsh, or March? Is it Salt Marsh? March. As opposed, because I remember writing a note about the fact that, you kind of honed in on one little aspect of independence movement, as opposed to doing the entire thing. Did you mention that in your process paper?
Yeah.
Well, like the entire Indian independence movement is over a span of many years.
Mhm.
So it's an incredibly big thing to like explain, and we wouldn't be able to explain it in 1,200 words.
Right.
And so, focusing on one point, important point, in the movement was essential so that we could explain it to the reader.
And we chose the Salt March because it's such an influential turning point in the movement, and we thought it would be fitting to center our project on.
Yeah, and somewhere there was I think you had a picture of, all the people who participated.
We had a list.
A list, yeah.
Well,
Here's
yeah,
John Gordon.
we did have just a list.
Yeah.
It started with 80 people and then people, because it was over a period of 1 month. So many people joined, and it's 243 miles.
Yeah, that was a
from
very
the starting point.
That was a pretty important part. That he was able to pick up support from just I shouldn't say common, just from the citizens and the people of India. That was pretty important, just because it's their country and their independence that they're fighting for.
And again, building from a small group to larger and larger can be very effective. Were there some Indians who were opposed to getting rid of the British? Was there a group of some sort that was saying, hey, no, it's good here, let's keep something?
Well, there was a lot of British people living in India, so of course there's those people. But most of the Indians, they'd been happy before the British came, and the British being treating them badly, so they weren't really happy anymore, so.
Yeah, I think that was in this.
Yeah, well-
For the span when the British were there.
And I'm guessing you're Mr. Singh? Sorry, I lost your first name. I'm guessing you have a little different perspective on this Indian history perhaps than your partners. I was wondering if, were there times when you could bring something unique in that they didn't know about that kind of helped to shift or inform research?
Yeah. My grandmother was born in 1936, so after the Salt March, but she witnessed the effects of like independence, and so I talked to her, I interviewed her about like this, like the movement itself and like what rights were gained afterwards, and I also was able to like tell personal stories about like traditions and things that were in India that were important.
Yeah, it's great when you can bring in testimony like that from relatives or friends or people who are much closer to the situation.
Did you include any of those interviews? I don't remember, because we looked at it, at least a week and a half ago.
This was a little long, but we just put in quotes and stuff that we thought would be powerful for the site. When there wasn't really enough, we didn't really have, I can tell the word count, we didn't have enough to include the entire interview. So we just tried to pick the more focal points.
Well, if you said you only used about 50% of the 100 megabytes, because obviously that does not, you could have kept on going with some interview clips, some audio clips.
Well, it was 1930, and there's not a whole lot of these videos and stuff at that time, but
And for the interview with Ma's grandma, he had to actually fly out to India for it, and he didn't have a camera.
Oh, okay, so but you didn't have audio?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I would have to do it.
Oh, okay. Did you actually try to interview anybody who was an academic, who might be a specialist in
Yeah.
colonial Indian history? Mhm.
We interviewed a professor.
AJ Scaria, who's writing a book on the matter, so.
We went to the U of M campus, and we interviewed him, and we took a video of it, and we included some clips from that, so. He had a giant, library of books on India, and he was a really good resource, and he's even writing a book on Gandhi, so.
So was he able to point you in some directions that you weren't aware of, in terms of sources and
Yeah, and he
books?
helped clarify points that we didn't completely understand.
And points, doesn't he know what point us towards Ames?
Oh, the Ames Library?
Yeah, that's a library in the University of Minnesota, about Asia. And so, yeah, we went there and it was, important, because we got many more sources that were helpful.
Now, how did you divide the work up? Did one person do the research and one person do the website, et cetera?
We made a list of the tasks that had to be done, and then we, kind of divided into thirds as best as we could. But that went over pretty quickly in that matter, so we just tried to, at different times, we would break over the website and, edit each other's work. Sometimes we got on Skype to do the group collaborative, or at school when we had access to multiple computers in the same room. That was very helpful.
Did you have any technical issues involved with your website?
Not really, it was just, I think, learning the website, how to make it, how to add new things and put in video.
There's a rule about you can't embed videos and stuff, so we had to figure out how to download them and put them in, so.
Yeah, no linking to outside websites.
Yeah.
That's
Yes, we
amazing.
had to work around that.
Could you go back to your homepage? Yeah, I liked what you did here. I just think you probably should have faded the background a little more to make that text pop, because, it's like I had to kind of, unfortunately, get up a little close to read it.
When I looked through these websites, there was one that was talking about slavery in the US, and there were some people who were saying, here's why slavery is good and wonderful and we need to keep it. And I'm wondering, were there people, what were some of the reasons the British gave leading up to independence as to, why it's so wonderful to have us here?
Mostly economic reasons, like the British have all these like technologically advanced guns and cannons and whatever, compasses, pots and pans, that if they weren't there, the Indians probably wouldn't have, because they weren't as technologically advanced. So that was probably one of the main reasons. But also they didn't really have a strong military at the time, but the British did. So like that kind of served as protection.
It also wasn't very unified in India, as like one full continent or subcontinent. It was more like separate areas, so they kind of just went to each ruler at the time, kind of convinced them that it would be a good idea for both sides.
So there were subunits within India that were politically independent that the British could come to and negotiate with.
Yeah, and then they made it into one entire country.
I remember reading something about how the British campaigned that it was a significant right and a significant dignity to have the British in India, and that was one of their campaigns that they were trying to advertise.
I think we're out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so much. I do recommend, if you ever get a chance, the comedian Eddie Izzard does a hysterical bit about flags and colonialism, saying that, I'm here, I point to my flag, it's mine now, talking about the British in India. But thank you all so much for participating in National History Day.
Yeah, thank you.